Go. Good morning. Welcome to a new episode of Empowering Voices. We have our guest today, Stefania Indelicato. Welcome, Stefania.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Stefania is a great jewelry designer. She creates, she recharm, she invent and brings us to an adventure with her creations. Now she will tell us a bit more. We will start today from the quote, "Live your dreams." And Stefania will tell us how it can be applied to what she does and to her life. Welcome. And
thank you.
Tell us your story.
Thank you. I'm Stefania. I'm the founder of Amber Souk Jewelry. And I love that quote. And I just think that living your dream means freedom, means freedom of choice. And I think more than it being a way of life, I think it's really a state of mind.
Yeah.
And it's really, you don't live your dreams just by having things and wealth, and it can be applied to anything. And I think that's where I come in, is that I'm grateful that I can live my dream every day, because I create, and I love to create, and I love to tell stories through my creations. But it doesn't fit into the conventional way of, living your dream, in that you're having the high life, and you're having, it's really, it boils down to really your state of mind, and you can be living your dream with very little.
Yeah, it's a mindset, definitely, and also the dreams are different for everyone, and like success can be different for everyone. And the important thing is that you know that you are living your dream, and for you is this creative space where you create beautiful pieces, telling a story and giving amazing feelings to your customers. So tell us more.
Well, I love to. So my jewelry is inspired by a very rich heritage. I'm Italian. I was born in Ethiopia, and I grew up in Sudan.
Wow.
So there's a big mix of heritages. There's a big mix of cultures, and I think I've absorbed from all of those. And it's something that's been part of my DNA since ever. And I express those through the jewelry that I create. I miss Africa. Africa's in my blood. And for me to stay close to Africa, I create things that are inspired by the desert, by people, nomadic people, by my time spent with my mom at the market. I have so many rich memories where I try and translate those into the jewelry that I create. And it's a way of me sharing the magic of Africa, and keeping those memories alive, and telling those memories, and sharing the stories, and creating things from those stories.
Because it's a big part of you, and also because your mom is very much involved. She has always been, because she's another artist, of course, and you always had their support. That's amazingly important, of course.
She's my biggest inspiration, really, because since I can remember, she's always loved to create something out of nothing. So, and living where we lived, you had to be very creative, because at times there wasn't as much, or you just had to really use creativity. She's got creativity in her blood. And so whatever she found, whether it was an old chair or whether it was an old piece of jewelry, she would always recreate. and
Make
always
something stunning.
something stunning. Every house she would find, you know, we moved, I don't know how many houses in Sudan, and we would go and see the house where we would move into, and we would think, Mom, how can we move in here? And she said, don't worry, I can
She
see it.
already could
And
see
she'd
it.
already had a vision of how to recreate. And every time, you know, we would have to move again for whatever reason, there was always a queue of people wanting her house because she'd always do it in her special way. And she did that with her houses. She did that with paintings. She did that with jewelry. So the Amber Souk really grew from, you know, going to the market and finding pieces, and not just the finding of the piece, but the whole journey of finding that piece, speaking to the tradesmen, and you know, it was a whole ritual.
Yeah.
And that ritual was part of her, and then it became part of me. And finding a piece that was, you know, I don't know, I'll give you an example. This is, and you have that.
I have it as well. I love it.
You know, this piece it's a very famous piece that's part of jewelry that, you know, this was, it's a Maria Teresa thaler, and it came into Africa via trading. So because it was very pure silver, it would get melted, and nomadic people
Transform.
would, or you know, from Eastern Africa would melt it and reproduce other things. So this got turned into, you know, she'd made so many different things with this piece, and it was the thrill of finding those interesting pieces and recreating them. And that's what I do now. I have my collections as well, but I really enjoy having that thrill of finding that thing that I think, okay, what can I do with it, and how can I embellish it? And I think the beauty of that is that at the moment we're living in such a materialistic society, and we're just, there's so much, too much of everything, that we really need to step back and think, let's use what we have in a better way, and let's, you know, so I'm hoping it helps the planet a little bit too, but you know, I enjoy that, and that's part of me, and I tell the story through that.
Yeah, exactly, because every piece is an adventure. And as you said, I was reading one of your latest posts, the piece comes out when it decides, right? You are just, you as an artist, you are the helper for the piece.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that piece, and that piece that I posted was made ages ago, and it's been sitting in one drawer, from one drawer to another drawer, and then I took it with me to, it actually from Sudan, it came to London, then I took it to Dubai, and I thought, I'm gonna do, and then my mom and I created a piece out of that. And it's like everything, you know, everything happens at its own right time. You know, flowers flourish when they're ready to flourish.
Yeah, and it's amazing to know that you own a piece with such a story, strong story, and such an energy. Because as you said, we are in a materialistic world, and we buy and throw away stuff all the time. But the important part is when you cherish something with the story behind, because you take the energy of all these countries you went through, all these people who your mom, the original person who owned the little stone, all comes together. So when you own that piece, you have a big piece of cultures mixed together, and it's amazing. When I wear my ring that you made for me, I mean, I feel powerful. I mean, it seems
nice
naive to say, but it seems like a magic talisman, right?
Yeah.
And it's, this is the way we should see such a precious creations. That you
because so many people have been part of that. It's not just me. There's been so many, the process of producing something or finding something, of there's been so many people involved in that, and absolutely the magic of it is knowing who was involved and who brought it, and who which hands it went through.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I could own the most beautiful piece of jewelry, but if it doesn't have a story, it doesn't have a soul, to me it's meaningless. It's not. It's beautiful, and I appreciate, of course I appreciate its beauty, but it's less powerful for me.
Definitely, I totally agree. And I just want to remind that what you do is, for example, to repurpose pre-loved jewelry. So I saw recently also one of the rings you created, and there was already a story behind the piece very dear to the person, and you repurposed it in a way, contemporary way, so that she can wear it with the pride and remembering her origins, her ancestors, and all the story behind the original piece already. And that's fantastic. Definitely.
Yeah, it's unfortunately things continue to live. We don't, but things continue, right? And they're passed on, and so that's how story repeats itself. So to hold on to that, and for someone to be able, a lot of us have things that are in the drawers that we don't wear because of whatever reason, but they mean something to us. But so it was lovely to do this piece because it really meant a lot to her, and she's now enjoying it and is wearing it, as opposed to sitting in a cupboard.
Exactly. And I wanted to know if there is a word or a quote or a couple of words that can be like a support for what you do, for your core values in life and business.
Gosh, there's so many. I think the main one for me would be whatever you do, whatever you say, do so with kindness. And that goes a long way, and things come back to you that way. And there's a beautiful quote that I love by Maya Angelou, who's like my idol, that says, people will forget what you have said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel.
Totally. It's one of my favorites of Maya Angelou. Definitely.
And that for me speaks volumes. And we could have the most successful business and but if you don't do that with kindness and then
it's meaningless.
It's meaningless. And love. And I put this on especially for you because I have this t-shirt that I wore for you today, and this means love in Arabic.
Oh, that's a beautiful, actually, drawing.
Yeah, it's called, in Arabic, you say hub, which means love. So I think kindness and love,
they go together, definitely.
Together.
Definitely.
They conquer everything.
You're right. You are so right. Thank you very much, Stefania, for this lovely conversation. I just want to remind everyone that in the post below, in my bio on my website, you will find all the contacts for Stefania. Visit her Instagram, is so inspiring. I'm sure you will fall in love and start saving and shop on her social media. Thanks again for being with us. I say goodbye and
thank you for having me.
You're very welcome, and see you all next week.
Thank you.